Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years past, present, and future. Second is an approval of our agenda for this meeting. Need a mover and a seconder?
So moved.
Okay. Moved by Deputy Mayor and second by Councillor Van Good. Any disclosure of conflict of interest on any of the budget discussion items? Okay, hearing none, we don't have any presentations and delegations for this meeting either. So we'll move right on into number 5, which is the budget discussions, and I believe John has a presentation.
Walk you through some of this at high level. It'll just take me a minute to get set up.
Okay, we'll just wait while John gets set up.
Thanks, Your Worship. This is a very similar deck that I presented last year, and this first part will focus on the operating budget, and then a little later on we'll talk about capital and perhaps do a roundtable on capital priorities. So starting assumptions for our budget for 26-27, we're seeing revenue of 5.1 million, and these more detailed numbers are in your package in front of you. That's an increase of 683,000. The vast majority of that is coming through property taxes and an increase in the property tax credit we're seeing, and that's reflective of the growth in the community over the last number of years. There is more money coming in for fire dues, and again, that's an in-out. And then we're seeing an increase in other revenue. The big increase in that, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dawn, is we were capturing salaries that were only showing up on the expense side. They're showing up now on the revenue and the expense side, so that's kind of an in-out with some of the entities that we manage. On the expense side, we're seeing 4.76 million. We have salary increases of 1.5% built into the budget. COLA last year was around 1.7. We are expecting full staff complement in 26-27. We are considering an additional staff for 8 months of the year, and our facilities and rec director has shown to be a very valuable asset to the town, and we're looking at creating a community engagement and cultural officer. And I'm working on I have the draft job description, but it basically looks at someone that'll lead community engagement and also arts and culture coordinator, someone that could work with the Playhouse and with the museum to help them be successful. Perhaps play a community asset role in working with the ball fields. That was very successful last year. And then other work around town promotion in terms of new residents and businesses. Looking at a grade 6 on our pay scale that would run from 50K to 63K. For this year, it'd be a partial of the year, and then I'd say we would do an evaluation at the end. And then over last year's budget, our overall expenses would increase by about 3.5%, which is fairly reasonable. I did this chart last year. Again, it shows the town's sources of revenue for that 5.1 million. with the vast majority of it, 52% coming from property tax, and then another 17% from the property tax credit that we get from the province. Fire dues, again, are an in-out, 16%. Then we have other revenue, and then planning, equalization, and a tax offset that has been reduced over the years. The other revenue, as I mentioned, includes grant and lieu, some fines, hall rentals. Winterville, there's 42,000 there that we bring in and then put out. Income from the AA McDonald Gardens, operational government transfers, and interest revenue. When we look at expenses by department, it's fairly evenly shared across our different departments, with protective services, and which includes our fire, 23%, maintenance at 23%, planning at 8%, overall administration 23%. Our financial is a small part of it, 1%. Town-owned facilities around 9%, and community services at 13%. So if we look at our revenue line compared to 2026, you will see an increase in that 5.1. It's actually closer to 5.2, with, again, the big increase in property taxes, property tax credit, and most of the other lines are fairly well in line, except for the property tax offset. You'll see that reduced, and again, that's part of the memorandum of settlement that I think we're in our 9th year now.
This is year 9?
I think it's year 9? Yeah.
We're starting year 9.
Yeah.
I pulled this up real quick because I think it's something important. Looking at the operating budget of 2019, 2020, our property taxes revenue was $799,000.
Really?
2.6.
Yeah.
I think it just shows the growth of the town. I know we did do some tax increases, but I think it's something we can be proud of.
And the tax increases, some of them were on the recreational tax, they weren't, yeah. And they wouldn't be necessarily included in the property taxes, yeah.
John, just a question on our budget increase year over year is only 3.5% our expenses?
3.5% on the expenses.
On the
Yeah,
expenses.
yeah.
Does that include the 8-month salary person too?
That's everything.
And that
That's
includes that
included.
as well?
That's included that new salary too.
Okay, that's,
Yeah, so we've held the line on a lot of our expenses for the coming year, and I'll walk you through those in a second.
yeah, I think what Cody's saying about the growth in Three Rivers is just something that is it's hard to believe in. What year was that, Cody?
That was like 2019.
2019,
Our first
yeah.
kind of real year is 3 years. I think we were about to be 2018, that's
Yeah.
September or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the growth isn't hard to see. Yeah, thank you, John.
So here's the expenses by division. And again, you'll see, fairly minimal growth over on the expense side from last year. And that's reflective of, we're not seeing a huge increase in the cost of living. And there are some additional costs, but we've held it fairly close. You look at the administrative services, almost identical to last year. Planning, slightly higher than the year before. Maintenance, very similar. Protective services. And again, most of the growth in the protective services is growth that for the fire departments, they'll get more money from the increased property taxes.
Where do legal fees go?
Legal fees fall under the administrative services, and then I think there's a legal line under planning
There is.
as well, yeah. So in summary, you're seeing an operating revenue of 5.1 in our operating budget, with an operating expense of 4.7. That leaves an operating surplus of 401,000. Now, we do have to take debt payments out of that. So we identified that as 241,000. And then we kind of mocked up possible capital expenditures of 219. They have to come out the operational piece, or our share, which is showing a deficit of 58,000. Now, we do have money from retained earnings over the years that we can bring forward. And Don and I had a discussion with our Michelle Burge, our accountant, the other day, and what she's suggesting is you kind of figure out where you are, and then you just bring into your budget what you need to square you off. So we've got retained earnings, I think well over $1 million.
Working capital's over $1 million.
Yeah, that we can draw from. So we, like, for last year, for example, I think we had about $234,000 in cash surplus once the amortization. So we are in a very healthy position, and able to invest in capital, which I'll give you a little summary of what we did just in the current fiscal. We've completed the Brudenell Active Transportation this year, put a utility generator in Georgetown, finished off in the Brudenell Extension. We put streetscape lights in Montague, I think there were 10 of them. We did the sidewalks on the Queens Road, both ends. Did the Cardigan Playground. We put a digital sign in Georgetown. Not 2 hybrid tracks, but 2 hybrid trucks. Fast car chargers at the Wellness Center. We did a number of upgrades to the Cardigan Ball Field. We put pickleball nets, and we did painting on the courts. And we put a water arm in Georgetown. So those are projects that we got past the finish line in 25, 26. In progress, we've just signed a contract for the Three River Sportsplex. We'll be working with TCAP on a jurisdictional scan for that facility. The funding's in place for the Cardigan Fire Hall, and the drawings are complete there. We're working on the drawings for the sewer utility storage building. We just received funding for museum accessible washroom and door. We just signed the contract on that today. And we also have started to work on the Sackville Street pathway. So that's a lot done in a year that have been past the finish line and in progress. And all that stuff helps drive the residential increase that we're seeing in the property taxes. So does anyone have any questions on any of the items? And again, you have more detail in your package.
Can you just go back to your pie chart there that broke down where,
Your sources of revenue?
yeah. That one, no, the one you just passed.
The expenses?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
So the financial,
It's 1%. That's essentially our bank fees and
is that
what's that?
The interest on.
long-term?
on loans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's only about $45,000 in our.
Yeah,
in our
that's
budget.
pretty amazing. It's 1%. So in other words,
So
Don,
that demonstrates the health of
Yeah.
the fiscal health of the community.
so in other words, Don, only 1%, is it 1%? Of our total budget goes to servicing our debt.
Exactly. Less than that because some of that's interest for.
Oh, bank charges and stuff. So that includes our bank charges
and change.
plus any interest on our, I don't think you can get much healthier than that, yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that's what that meant.
So does anyone have any questions? It's a very similar budget to last year and for the most part.
And of course, there's no tax increase in that budget.
So I do have a line for discussion.
Okay.
Are you happy with what we're offering? Is there anywhere we need to increase services? We did talk about, perhaps supporting our town-owned facilities a bit more. Maybe through employee support. Taxation is something that can be discussed. I think from my point, it's pretty tough to make a case for increased taxation with the fiscal health of the community. And then where I would see us going is having a discussion on our capital priorities that council would have moving forward.
Anybody have any comments on that? Or,
necessarily understanding out to be that where we need
Sure.
to increase our services, drastically, I think, we get the odd complaint about different things that we're not cutting the grass here fast enough, or the snow is not being moved fast enough, but I don't see a wide gap in where, unless you guys do and staff does, but I don't see.
No, we get the odd complaint about, you know, the odd sidewalk or, most of the, and I wouldn't necessarily call them complaints, a lot of the wants are around the recreational, and I think last year we did a really good job on our ball fields and given the activity that they see and the, you know, we got really good reports from the Minor Ball Association based on, the fact that we had that Atlantic tournament and the condition the fields were in, and for that. We have had to, you know, work with you know, that also includes some support to the Cavendish Farms Wellness Center. That'll be a separate budget, but there's also a town line in there. So I think in terms of services, you know, we're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, if we improve this job, you are increasing services and all show.
Exactly, and I also think building into the job description, you know, that support for the museum and work with the Playhouse and some others, I think it'll actually pay for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that's a support that we have been missing for a while. Number of counselors, or a couple of counselors have talked to me about the arts and culture report that we haven't done anything with. And I think that's a bit of an opportunity to do something with that as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd look forward to that position.
So I don't think you can read this, but you have it in front of you.
Yeah.
So that's our last year's 5-year capital plan. And again, many of the items are 2026, the active transportation trail. The museum deck has been started, the utility generator has been complete, the extension on phase 2 of the Broodnell extension has been complete. The streetscapes have been, the 10 lights last year have been completed. Fire hall expansion is well underway. We haven't done the washrooms in Cardigan at the ball field. We haven't done an outdoor multi-sport facility. We have 500 grand. My guess is that wouldn't touch it with the way things have changed. The Queens Road sidewalks have been looked after. The TCAPS feasibility thing is well in hand. Playground has been completed. Digital sign has been completed. We didn't do the groomer for the ball field. That was actually at the request of the Minor Ball Association. They didn't think that, but we may need to work with them on another piece of equipment that's more appropriate. There's waterfront and Main Street revitalization. The sewer utility building is in the queue. Vendor shops, we are looking at potential for vendor shops. I think we have 24,000. We may need to up that just on the design alone. The Sackville Street, that's well in hand. The tender's been issued on that. The drawings have been done. The trucks have been purchased. I don't think we did an art piece for a while. We did do the water arm for Georgetown. We always have land acquisition in there. The fast car charger is complete and the Sportsplex solar is complete. So most of the items in 2026 have been put past the finish line or are halfway down the racetrack. And then we have longer term items at the 2 lift stations in Montague. And we do have an application that we're waiting to hear from on upgrades to the water and sewer in Montague. Maintenance building expansion is still there. Sidewalks on John Beer Drive are in the system. There was a request on Cardigan Trail. And then there's the fire truck seems to get pushed forward with the fire department. We haven't heard anything on that recently. Sidewalks in McDonald Avenue. Renewable energy is a bit of a placeholder. Cardigan Wharf. Dog park is in there. My guess is that's something that we will want to fast track for the coming year. We are in discussions with a potential sponsor for that. We'll see where that goes. Electric car, probably not something we would put it very high in the priority. And then there's outdoor pool, outdoor rink, and some other items. So I think what we would like to get is a bit of what priorities council would have, recognizing that most of this stuff has been knocked off the list. And again, I think that speaks to staff working well with their funding partners to get things completed.
So refresh my memory, what's the Cardigan Trail at an estimated cost of $1 million?
That is, if I'm correct, it's a trail that starts at the school and goes down across the bridge and up, I think, to the ball field. Is it? Yeah. And that was included in the deck that people from the community came and presented to council around this time last year.
Cardigan Wharf upgrades, I'd like to see that moved up. I don't know there'll be a Cardigan Wharf there to wait too many more years. I know that's a big expense and they're probably gonna finish a lot more than when they get into it, right, of repairing it, but I'd like to see that moved up closer,
Okay.
possibly.
I think
That's been in the budget for a while.
it has, but I think we need to decide what we're, where are we going with the Cardigan Wharf? Or I think we need to make some decisions on it first.
It might be an easy decision to take for a few more years.
Oh,
And there's one is last time we had a report from it. Maybe after the.
We have every year last year.
what's that? Okay.
There was a hole or something.
You want a copy of the
I can get one.
Yeah, Dorothy,
So I think on the capital side, we'll go with the package that's in your.
yeah.
I was reviewing last year's,
Just speaking for, John Mc,
I can sit down now because I don't think
Yeah,
I need to be standing here.
speaking for John McFarland, I think those sidewalks on, John Beer Drive have been promised, if my memory is correct, before amalgamation. They were in a Montague sidewalk plan in the town of Montague, so they've been promised for a long time. But do we have any applications for, we do have applications for funding for them. Okay, thanks, Dorothy. We were also asking, if we had any update on the condition of the Cardigan Wharf. When's the last time we had anything, not since the initial assessment we had done some years ago?
That would be the initial assessment and what that had to be done, and the suggestions on what our possible two options would be. That's sitting there and has gotten bumped ahead from last year because there really hasn't been a source of funding come available that it applies to. Now, the federal government 3 months ago had said that they were going to start bringing forward some infrastructure funding, so there's something may happen. But currently, there's nothing that would apply to it. And then there's a decision council needs to decide, what that scenario will be, and I do think that that's probably community engagement and peace as well.
Yeah, okay, so we don't know of any funding for that project. The vendor shops at the Montague waterfront or some location in that area, we have money for a design for them, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we plan to do that in 2027?
So those shops, the design, is that getting designed of the building or specific to that area?
That'd be designed, I think both specific to the area and, pardon, sorry?
We don't have an application.
Sorry?
We don't have any funding for the design.
Design?
We would take it out of operation.
Okay. What's everybody's feelings on the dog park? We'd like to see that done in 2027?
In
20, well, I guess 2026, 20, in this capital budget, yeah.
There's a potential for a sponsor. We've been asked to put together a deck, which Andrea has
Yeah.
done, and we've provided it to, I'm not gonna say whom, but a company has requested that we provide them with food for thought. Yeah,
Okay, so we'll find out more information on that.
So, is that, the proposal that came from Mr. McCauley at their last meeting for the location for the dog park?
I'm not sure if we've settled on a location yet, but we are thinking about over by the wellness center.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Cause he was asking for one for Cardigan
And
near
we
the
do
ball
have
field.
something in the grants that we looked at for a group in Cardigan. Now, again, we'd have to give some thought about what the agreement would look like because we don't own the land that they're recommending as a location.
Okay, anything else on capital budget?
The tree planting in 2027, that's got to do with the breeding, that's the breeding reserve. I know I've mentioned that, John, to you a couple of times. When they finish doing the work in Georgetown, on the province, doing the work in Georgetown, they're going to be replacing the trees that they took down. Is that correct? We're not paying for that.
I'm not sure if they're willing to put trees in or not. We'd have to have discussion with Finance
I
PEI.
thought that was already stated
I'm
in
not-
there
I
when
mean-
they decided they were taking them all in.
And they'd have to,
Because it's not fair for the town to
Yeah.
use the reserve fund for that.
oh no, we wouldn't necessarily. The other thing you'd have to give some thought to of what type and size of tree that you actually could put there, given that you,
Seedlings,
yeah,
I'll tell you that.
yeah.
They want good sized trees.
Yeah.
I just want to make that noted, please, that, we need to approach the province, that they will fulfill that. Because, there's not hardly a tree left on Main Street, Georgetown. We'll have to take them up some.
So there was no water and sewer where those trees ran previously, was there? That,
They were taken out.
they were
because-
taken out,
For the water and sewer.
For the tech crack.
Yeah.
For the hook all up.
yeah, so, they may have to put in something that's more friendly to water and sewer lines.
As long as it's good
Yeah.
sized trees. Yep.
Okay, anything else? We'll try to accomplish most of the 2027, I guess, and see how far we get. Okay, John, we're next to. Moving on to, the town facilities next? Or
Yeah,
the
there,
outside
and the
grants?
town facilities is listed.
Oh,
And again,
5.3?
these numbers are all captured in the operational budget that we provided to you. So 24,000 go to the Garden of the Gulf Museum, with good portion of it in kind around, in kind with insurance, property tax, bookkeeping. And we have identified 78,000 to the King's Playhouse, with again, 50,000 of that being insurance, 22,000 in bookkeeping. And then there's property tax, some SAGE, which is in accounting, basement inspection, audit, for a total of 78,000. And then there's Three Rivers Sportsplex, again, similar items. And the same with the Wellness Center and the waterfront development. Now, below what you'll see is facility upgrades. These are actually dollars that they could use for upgrading their facility. So we've identified $10,000 for the King's Playhouse, exterior doors and security, interior doors and rekeying, theater repairs and operations, some work on the HVAC, accessibility improvements, and a little bit of an electrical and energy audit. The Sportsplex, we've identified 13,000 or 12.5 for tractor room renovation, replacement bay door for the tractor room. The total request for that is 60 grand, and I think they're asking for 12.5 from the town. The Wellness Center, we need compressor maintenance, pump maintenance, a floor scrubber, and some roof repairs. We've got nothing from the library, and then there's a request for 16,000 from the waterfront for 85,000 in facility upgrades. Then we also have emergency funding of 35,000 for a total of our town-owned facilities of 415,000. Any questions on any of those numbers? Again, a lot of it is bookkeeping, insurance, property taxes and the like.
I have a
Yeah.
couple of questions. So for the vast majority of museum, it's really just in-kind and bills.
Yeah.
Playhouse, the same thing. Sportsplex, the same thing. No operating budget, just in-kind and
Yeah.
operational support
Yeah.
to our staff.
That's correct.
What is the Three Rivers grant of 40,000 for the wellness center?
That's something that we've identified that we're gonna have a shortfall, that we would need to offset. Basically their cost of running for the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where, like, we were talking about the Playhouse in a shortfall. You could easily click in $40,000 for the same
Yeah.
thing, for the same type of
You
facility,
could,
right?
yeah.
So, just to point that out kind of thing, right? We have another rink that doesn't have that same sort of shortfall, or maybe a little different now, depending how the manager is and stuff, right? Maybe they could technically say that's sort of split in half. I'm assuming one.
Yeah, I think the big extra cost with the wellness center is the summer operations where we need to keep it open because it's a walking track and there's this and that.
'Cause
But
it's a
very
wellness
little,
center.
very little income, where the Sportsplex closes for the summer, so I think and then correct me if I'm wrong, Don, but I think that's what we're seeing is the difference between the two facilities.
Yeah, you make it, like, and was my point earlier with the Playhouse, is we kept the building open all the time, all year, and you'd really suck any profits.
Yep.
Or anything you did by being open.
Yeah.
Where we identified or the Sportsplex in Georgetown, we're not making money. We tried it one year, we tried to do a day camp, we tried to do events. The effort you put in didn't pay off.
Yeah, if we close the wellness center in Montague for the summer, it would make a big difference in their bottom line, but it's difficult to do that with the
Library.
library and stuff there.
So the library, yeah, that's the main.
Yeah, and we are looking at, going with almost a skeleton crew there over the summer.
Yeah, and do we go after the province any sort of way? I think they actually come after us for money, do they not? To operate the library, or how does that work?
We pretty well pay the operations of the library,
Yeah,
yeah, other than staffing.
right, I wonder if that's a conversation we can have with them about something along that lines, right? So that 40,000 is it's a grant to
It's just a
operate
grant to try to keep the place
in the summer.
square, yeah, yeah.
So
and we are finding that it's not a cheap place to operate.
no,
And we did look at some increases in ice time rentals for next year and increases in some of the room rentals. And we are seeing pretty good revenue with the senior team that's there. And we are operating the bar there and we're doing fairly well on that. So that, we may end up with a better year next year than we think.
Ann?
Yeah, I'm just wondering about the summer at the wellness center. Like, have there been any plans to bring in any events or do any big things over the summer?
Philip has talked to me about a few things, but nothing that would generate income on a weekly or daily basis.
It's used for pickleball in the summertime, is it? Well,
Yeah, there's pickleball, there's a shuffleboard league, there's a ball hockey league. I think there's a group of cyclists that are going to be crossing Canada that are going to spend the night there and kind of almost tenting out on the ice. There are activities that happen there. They don't generate a lot of income.
Okay, anybody else? Okay. Just one question on the wellness center and and the library. The town pays the rent to the back to the wellness center for the library, is that correct? Or we used to,
We pay for the cleaning
Yeah.
and, the rent of
And
the
the rent.
library, yeah,
and the rent goes back to the
to the wellness center.
wellness center, yeah. Yep, okay, thank you. Okay, we ready to move on to the outside grants? Okay, who wants to lead us through these?
The outside grants, we've already discussed them. We just basically captured everything that was discussed at the
Previous meeting.
previous
yeah.
meeting.
Yep. Any more discussion on those grants?
So
We did.
some of them, the discussion was if we seen a deficit, we were going to revisit the costs,
Yeah.
about upping and lowering it, and I think that was also, we said the same thing about our festivals.
Yeah.
So right now, we are seeing a deficit.
Yeah, you are seeing a small deficit when everything's,
The question
everything's,
is, do we care, or do we want to address to get that number to zero?
Go ahead, Alan.
That we just carry on.
Who's this guy?
Where did Alan go?
I wasn't looking. Who said
I
that?
think we have surplus to bring forward to cover it though, correct?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, so we have lots of
Yeah,
surplus.
we haven't. We've
Yeah.
historically never used our surplus to float a deficit though for Three Rivers. We've always worked the other way and then used the surplus in capital or other expenditures. I'm not saying I'm not fine with it, just introducing the
And
conversation.
even in this budget, we are backing out potential capital, which is chewing up most of that surplus, because without the capital and the interest, we are showing a bit of $400,000.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a couple of other requests, for funding, the one from the IWK, was there?
There was a request
Yeah.
from the IWK that didn't come in with the grants. It came into an email to the mayor and I, and they were requesting the town sponsor IWK to the tune of $10,000 over 10 years, and I think of $1,000 a year grant from the town to the IWK.
The lady did come and meet with John and I did tell her that she should put in an application. But we didn't receive one. But they do request, they were requesting a $10,000, over 10 years. Go ahead, Alan.
I mean, the IWK is obviously a very valuable asset in the Maritimes, but I think they have to follow the process, and they should put the application in for next year at this point if they haven't already.
Yeah, we can make her aware of that. There's a lot of asks throughout the year. Okay, do we have anything else? Cody, do you
I
have?
just have a couple,
Okay, Dawn?
yeah, I have a couple of that we left out.
Okay,
The Three Rivers Festival Working Group, sorry, the Cardigan Bay Development Group of 12,000, I had taken that off, but I just need a ruling on that. The Cyclone PEI, I'd taken that one off too. And then the rest of them was just said if budget allows, if we just carry on with those ones the way I have it.
I'm good with leaving them off.
So, it's good. So right now, like the festival group, we did that reduced one, right? And that's currently budgeted as I see
Yeah, so it's reduced to 53, which was 4,000.
for everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
There was asks of 10 and 6 and 5
Yeah,
or whatever
yeah.
it was. We went 4 across the board.
that's correct.
And that's currently budgeted. Okay.
Yeah.
Then what's the next one? Eastern Kings?
Cur-
So,
Cardigan Bay Development Group.
And that's the dog park, is it? Yeah.
It's the dog park.
so that's not in the budget and that's 12K.
That's correct. Oh, yeah, no,
No, that's the dog park.
yeah.
That was dog park.
Cycling PEI was the signage, was it not?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we're taking on the dog park though?
But not that one. They're talking the
Oh,
different.
separate, yes, okay.
So,
Yeah.
and we don't know what the other one's gonna cost.
Uh,
Is the other one budgeted capital?
We did get a quote on the other one,
The other one being Cardigan.
no, we got a quote on a 900 square foot one.
Here, I'll turn,
It's not, oh, sorry.
So, we got a quote on fencing and the like, and I think it came in around 38,000 from Eastern Fence. And that would be for something similar to what they have in Murray Harbor, which is got, you know, two sides, one for larger, one for smaller dogs, and that's, so you're probably talking about 50 grand to do a,
And where are we getting that money from then? Or what do we have that set aside?
that's in our, that would be in our capital budget.
and as John said earlier, we do have a possible sponsor for, we're not sure what amount, but,
Yeah.
yeah, there's been a
So-
couple of
So the
discussions
one with the
on
Cardigan
background.
Bay, the challenge there is we'd have to work with them on land ownership. Whether they got a lease from the province, because where they want to put it is owned by the province.
And we don't have any details on the size or anything, that seems like 12,000 compared to the price
They
we
did
got.
they gave us a quote,
gave us a-
I can't remember exactly what was in it.
Okay, so
So then it's a no with Cardigan Bay, you're saying, at this time? Cycling Prince Island's a no?
that was the markers.
Eastern Kings is a no?
We had 5,000 there, and again, it was if budget allows, yeah.
Are we ramping up the deficit or? How much more surplus do we have?
A lot. We have a lot. So when I talked to our accountant, what she said, basically you would, when we have a surplus, it goes into our pot and you draw from it as needed. Last year, I think in our budget, we had identified 167,000. We actually never moved any of that forward. So it depends on, you know, how careful we are with the year.
So Cody, are you saying you want to consider the 12,000? So,
I don't,
like, what's your
I
thoughts?
don't know if 12,000 touched, we just turned 38,000, right?
Well, that was, yeah.
And if we have the surplus and it's carrying it and we work with this group and they do come up with an agreement, then we can still activate it, correct? Yeah. So I think maybe the real step is to work with them to see who's gonna maintain, who's gonna own the land, what he is want.
I did have a good conversation with the CAO in Stratford about their dog park, which would be similar to what we got a quote on. And he said there's not a lot of maintenance to it. He said mostly they do a bit of trimming around the outside. The dogs themselves keep the grass down. He said there are times that they actually have to close it and allow the grass to come up. They do put a little fertilizer on it in the spring. Again, they close it for that. And some lime in the fall. but basically, he said it's very minimal, maintenance. They see quite a bit of use. And, he said there are times in the spring when the ground is soft, they have to shut it down. They don't plow in the winter, although people are in there. I think you were using it not too long ago. And people just deal with the snow that's in there. They do plow up to the gate, leave the gate open. But he said the maintenance is pretty minimal on it.
But they have two sections as well, one for larger dogs and one for smaller dogs, which I think is important. Yeah. And I'm not sure if the Cardigan proposal had, yeah, we're not sure.
We can work with them.
Yeah, we can work with them. Yep. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, there's one other one there. The TCAP.
Well,
So did we budget in TCAP?
We budgeted, that 108,263, which would include that 30 grand for
for TCAP.
TCAP.
It is, because it says if 30K flush allows.
Yeah, no, we did
So-
include it.
Okay, so the 180
Yeah.
is,
And I think one of the things that was brought up at the previous meeting was, we had made a commitment for several years of 15,000, and they said, we're good to go if that gets looked after, but they, things change and they do have an ask.
we made multiple bids. First time I think it was 25,000 for so many years, then we made a commitment on the mortgage. But I just want to make another point here in this. So now we've committed 30 grand, and I don't have a problem with it, okay, but I'm just pointing it out. We committed 30 grand to a building we don't own and have no control over. Do we have any stipulations of what the money's spent on? Like, is it for capital improvements? Is it operations? Is it wages? Is it?
In their,
Just a blank check that we cut them in March?
in their package, I think it was most of the capital items that they identified.
Which is great.
Yeah.
But, so then, to further on that, so now, the wellness center, we're given 40K to operate in the summer. TCAP, we're given 30K of the non-owned buildings. And we're talking with the Playhouse, and we're giving no financial support to, that we know is having trouble. So why wouldn't we also have that type of line item in there for them if we know we're already in the struggle?
We don't have a line item, but we definitely are,
Because we're doing it.
we're doing it, yes.
So why not have a line item, or why?
Yeah,
do
so
the other
what
lines?
we've been doing is pulling it from emergency funding or the like.
So that's my just, it kind of doesn't 100% make sense that we preemptively put it in for the wellness center knowing this. For their operational summers, we could be preemptively putting in for the Playhouse for their winter operations.
There's probably more questions around what's going on at the Playhouse, so in terms of, we don't know. So it's hard to put any kind of dollar value on a line when you have no idea what's going on from now till the summer months. I mean, we're obviously gonna help them, but how do you come up with a number when we don't know what's going on there?
Can I,
A great
d-
point.
excuse me, can I just, Dawn, do you know how much we've already put in we've already extended or covered for the Playhouse so far? Did you say 36? Or was that, no, that was a lot. A loss, yeah. Do you,
Do you want me?
yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm thinking right now it's around 25 that they owe us. We did extend a lot more, but as they were making money, I would take it back.
Okay.
So they did pay back a lot of that we lent them throughout the fall, but now it's starting to build back up,
Okay, so now you think we're
around 25.
around 25, yeah.
Right, so technically alone, where these other ones are grants or just cash things. So again, different, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. We're already preemptively given these other entities operation or capital, one not a building, one is. So while we're advancing the money, we do get it back when it's possible. So in the summer, they could have paid that off. So I'm just making the argument, if we're supporting one facility for the summer,
So you're making a point that we are putting 30,000 into our budget for a facility we don't own and nothing for a facility that we do own.
and then putting 40,000 into a facility to operate in the summer when it's
Yeah.
essentially the argument to be closed, which we do down the road because of it's too it has no revenue to operate in the summer, and then we're not doing that for one in the winter, and we're making, and we have problems with Playhouse, and I've told you what I think we should do with it. I think that's the answer, because a year ago, up the road, we had the exact same problems, and there was the solution. And even with the solution and fixing and making it better, we are still injecting 40K into it.
We did have
Yeah,
what I would think a fair bit of extraordinary expenses with the wellness center that hopefully over time will regulate. But we are running behind for a bit anyway.
yes, I'm hoping, you know, we'll eventually see with better management, over there that the wellness center will at least break even. And that's, I think, all we can expect of any rink. If they break even, it's pretty,
Let's
yeah.
look at books from the one down the road. What I can tell you, what can be expected.
Anyway,
But it's different. It's a wellness center, it's not a rink, so there is
no, it's not a
differences.
rink, and
I accept that.
we do have the library, and we don't have any choice but to keep the place open with minimal staff during the summer, so it's not a choice that we have. If we could shut it down and save the money, yes, but, go ahead, Alan.
What is the lease, or how long is that with the library? How long are we signed on to stay at the rink, or what's the deal there?
It's more than
I'd have to look into
yeah.
that and come back.
it's very old. Originally, the library was at the town hall. Mark,
Yes, correct, yeah.
and it's always been at a town facility.
Can we get the details on
Yep.
what that is?
Yeah, I can share those
Yeah,
with
thank you.
Yep. Anything else?
Cody brings up some really good points there.
Yeah, and his points are, and his points are noted, yep. Okay, we ready for adjournment? Okay, moved by Councilman Rowe, second by Councilor McLean, okay? Thank you very much, everybody, and, we'll